So, Richard, welcome.
Hi, Sandeep. How are you?
How are you? Yeah, fine. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
How is Hong Kong? How are you doing? First of all, are you healthy? Your family and friends, everybody safe and healthy?
Well, we're quite good in Hong Kong where there's not that much lockdown, so we can still go out, but we have to be in groups of four maximum. So
So, you're still going to office?
you can still go into the office. Everybody wears masks to walk the street. Some people in the office wear masks, but it's not enforced by the government, so to speak. You don't have to 100%.
No, that's still pretty good, compared to other countries. I would say Hong Kong has managed it pretty well.
Yes. No, it's good because also we've had this for 8 or 9 weeks now where we have to sanitize our hands quite often, every hour. And
To the
and the
hour.
mask has always been a dominant thing in Hong Kong where when we first saw it, it was quite, as a Westerner, confusing, where our beliefs are if you wear a mask, something's wrong with you, where over here you wear a mask and it's a protective thing. Nothing's
Yeah.
wrong. But if you don't wear a mask, they obviously question you, why are you not wearing a mask? So it's
I
interesting
mean, which
culture
is
change.
it's a cultural change for all of us globally. It's going to be a global cultural change. If we see if this continues for even a couple of months more, then it's a huge cultural change, I would say.
Yeah, no, the future is we probably will often wear the mask and it'll become a norm. And then we won't feel so intimidated or scared of wearing the mask, I suppose.
Yeah. Sorry, I had this thing. Just give me 1 second. I need to put my do not disturb. I forgot to do that. Uh,
Okay.
all right. Otherwise, you get calls in between. Okay, so I mean, if we see from this perspective and compare to Europe and US and other countries, then Hong Kong, of course, China has already recovered majorly from the crisis, and Hong Kong is doing pretty good. Countries like Taiwan is okay, Vietnam is okay, I would say, to a large extent, and
Yes.
Korea also, I think, is recovered almost from the crisis,
I
and
think
Japan is.
the I think the problem we've got in Hong Kong, to be honest, is that we don't just have the corona hit at this period of time. Over the last 6 to 8 months, we first had the trade war with US and China, and we, as Hong Kong, is sitting in the middle as a trader. And then we had the Hong Kong protests for 6 months, which
Yeah.
affected tourism. And then I think the corona came in around the end of January, which was the same time as Chinese New Year, where everybody's migrated to go to their families. And obviously, that was the time it's been passed through globally, I would say.
So
Accidentally as well, in such a freaky way.
it's a freaky way. It's really freaky. The way the things are developing. Still, it's really freaky. And we don't know actually when it will be really working out. But looking at Hong Kong, and it gives you also, also China, that it gives you hope that at least you can control it to a certain extent if you
Yeah.
keep precautions, and because you cannot live your normal life for too long. You can't be
Can be
staying at
changed
home.
quickly.
Yeah, it's very tough. The life becomes very tough for people who are not used to it.
Yeah. I think for the first month, I don't know whether I was in denial that this was happening, and I was carrying on working and traveling, and then a lot of people saying, I don't think you should be traveling. And I had a job to do, but so I didn't really even think about what the consequences could have been.
But you were traveling within Hong Kong or
I,
outside Hong Kong? You were traveling
Basically,
within
the lockdown was more of a travel to, say, Vietnam,
Vietnam. Okay.
and obviously at the moment Bangladesh is closed for business until the end of the month, as well as Pakistan.
Of
Um,
course.
so
So,
we,
but you were lucky, because you were able to travel at that time, and it was not easy. I mean, it was a big risk actually.
yeah, it was a big risk because obviously when we come to the airports in Hong Kong, everybody was checked with temperatures in the airport. And then I would land in London and nobody would check my temperature. Then I would fly to Dusseldorf, nobody checks my temperature. And theoretically, I shouldn't be doing that, which we already know now what's happened in Europe.
Now, when we look at our industry, what do you think? First of all, as yourselves, like you're a product developer, you develop denims, and you interact with all the brands, so many brands and clients and factories and mills. So, how your profile, how your work has changed due to this crisis, and what you were
Actually,
doing previously, how you were doing it previously, and how you have to do it now?
at the moment, my job has changed a lot, not on the aspect of what I do, but I can't go to the factories at the moment. So all my travel plans are kind of on freeze. So everything I'm doing at the moment is digitally, remotely. So I've got my teams that I'm working with on WhatsApp, or I'm using a VC kind of system. But I have to trust their eyes and their taste. Now, I'm sure you know everybody's got different tastes, and I'm pretty good at taking a designer's inspiration and trying to get their taste level. The guys in the laundries, they're not into that kind of aesthetics kind of feel to anything.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually different from human to person, because you might
Um,
have a different view of the same touch. I may have a different view of the same touch.
yeah, and I think that's where as a product developer, the designers, they their expectations are to get this beautiful garment that they've designed. Now, if I allow the factory to work 100% on that, and then they send the garment to them, I don't think their expectations will be met. I'm not saying that the workers can't do what the designer wants, but their guidance would be very different. So I have to kind of, it's a slower process as I do it digitally, where I'm talking to them on every process that we're doing, and I want to see it. I want to see photographs, which takes time and effort and a lot of patience as well. Some of the guys get so mad with me because I want to see higher resolution photographs just to see if the high and low is different or correct or whatever. And then also in our company, all the shade bands are coming to our office. We're not sending them to Germany. So I'm basically looking at what the product is and signing it off. So we've basically taken out quite a lot of the QA of the sign off of the garments as well, and it has to be done here. Because one of the big things that we've got, because majority of our stuff is for German market, is all the German shops are closed, and all the teams in Germany are working from home. But in German law is if you work from home, you can't work. So
Oh,
they
really?
can't even, yeah, they're not even allowed to like WhatsApp and reply back. So
Really? I didn't know
I
that
have
actually.
I have to be kind of sitting there and do the whole process and work with our kind of technical team and say, this is what they got, and this is, can we go forward in production on this, and kind of believe that it'd be okay in the future, because we're not even sure if it gets to Germany that it's acceptable. We're trying to keep it at a high standard, so fingers crossed that it goes forward.
But but the customers are still asking you to develop the products. They're not asking you to hold back or just stop it.
Okay, so
They still.
we have had on our supply chain itself, we've had to kind of cull quite a lot of the goods. We're on the, because we don't just do knitwear here. We do we don't just do denim. We do knitwear as well. So the denim side, we've actually been able to not cut or reduce any units. But obviously we still need to have a reduction or a percentage that would balance out a discount kind of cost to accept it into the supply chain, because it will be late in the market. But other categories, they've had bigger calls where 35% of the productions had to be kind of cancelled, which is so sad. And we can't stop it either.
So denim is actually better placed than other products.
Well, the beauty of denim is it's a staple kind of garment. So it doesn't really affect the sales so much as that if the shop's open, it will sell. Where if a sweater in knitwear is put in the summer kind of collection, you never know if it's going to sell because it might be hot. Where everybody still buys a jean. It might reduce in quantity a little bit, but sales are similar.
So, in terms of if you are you working on seasons? I mean, are you working for right on
Oh
season,
yeah,
or you
so
just
the unfortunate part for us as well on product development, we went over, I think in beginning of February, mid-February, to introduce spring summer collections to the designers. And they were picked and they were ready, and we came back and we started to do the second kind of fit garments, proto fits. And then we had this huge problem where it's completely stopped the supply chain. Now all them garments now, we're lucky that they didn't go into production. They've gone, it was just more of a PD area. But now I think last week we sat down around the table and felt, okay, well, why don't we just look at autumn winter? Because even if we make the spring summer and put it into production, they probably would deliver into the shops in the wrong season. And that's basically the pipeline is so messed up at the moment because nothing's open. I've got not just the factories closed, I've got the shipping lanes closed as well as the shop. So there's no need to make the garment at this moment in time, which is crazy. I've never seen this ever in my career.
none of us has seen that. You know, maybe probably in last anything after Second World War, nobody has seen this kind of situation.
Yeah, before we would have like, I think 10 years ago we had a recession in the UK, and we understood that there's a recession in the UK, so we'll focus on the US trade just to move the kind of production and bringing in the sales. But this part is global. And when you sit as a product developer in the middle, we watch the both ends. We can see the shops and what they're doing online and what they're talking about and reading the news. And then we sit and listen to the factories and the weavers, the dye stuff, the chemical companies, and they're telling us a very different story sometimes as well, where we're supposed to be transparent in the supply chain, but it's interesting when we read the news where it's just a blanket of it's interesting what I'm hearing, but when we're sitting in the back end, it's not reality.
That's true.
Crazy.
That's true. It's crazy. So your production mainly takes place in Vietnam, I believe, or also in China.
So we've got a split. So our production is split into three kind of countries. Vietnam is one of our main products for our mid-range, and that's with a company called TNT. And then we got our Bangladesh setup. We have an office in Dhaka, and we're just building more of a denim kind of push there. And then we also have Pakistan with DCC and Dubai with Desert Studio. So we kind of spread it out a little bit.
So out of these three locations, let's say in next 1 year, where do you see that it would be probably a little more safer for you to, or not safer, maybe which of these areas might be more focused on by the buyers, might be more focused on one of these
Focused
regions,
onto
or
that country. I would probably put it down to Vietnam and Dhaka. But because you got Bangladesh and Pakistan at the moment on lockdown, I don't know what the future is when they open up. When I'm talking to the factory owners, they're very positive. They have optimism, and I like that it's that they've got that. They need that drive, because what I've seen in the last 5-6 weeks with the big box kind of brands and what they've done, how they've handled the situation, and how they've
Which is very sad, which is really sad.
basically bruised their relationship. I wouldn't even say bruised. I think they just destroyed their relationship on
Yes,
some of
sir.
the orders.
Okay, so we were talking about these retailers and brands who have cancelled so many orders and who have really, as you said, destroyed the relationship with the supply chain. So, what happens
I
next? Are these retailers really going out of the market, or they will try to come back and then
well,
again?
some of these big brands have that big orders and quantities that they haven't just destroyed the factory itself. That they've destroyed the workers, their life. Like I can't see some of these factories surviving, so they're going to have to be basically redundant because of the no one's going to support them.
And what
And
about the garment factories, let's say in Vietnam or Bangladesh or Pakistan, who were dealing with these customers? Will they survive this cancellation because it's huge impact on them?
how I look at it is it's a terrible thing, because everybody, if I look at just say the UK as a front end part, and all these people at the moment are staying at home, and when they when the virus has moved on, they will want to shop. Now, are they going to be similar to how they went before they went into lockdown and buy rapidly anything that they can get their hands on? If that happens, then these big boxes will survive again. But what I'm hoping is that when people are staying at home and they start appreciating quality and their garments are not falling apart because they're after the 10th wash all the threads fall apart, then they might have a better understanding that quality is the future. And when we talk about quality, then it's sustainable. And they don't need to buy that many t-shirts. Who needs that many t-shirts when you go into a shop?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our culture at the moment is about budget, is about how much can we buy, how much, and feel proud that you've just come out of a shop and you've bought 5 items of garment that you could have just bought one that would have lasted
Much
several
more.
years.
Yeah.
But we need to change that mentality. And maybe with a lockdown, people start realizing that it's good. It's good to not just keep spending.
Yeah.
I hope, but maybe I'm just dreaming.
We can also get some idea from what's happening in China because, in a way, they are ahead of us. They got the crisis first and they came out of it
Yep.
first. Now, so they're moving ahead. So, if we look at the consumers in China, how are they reacting?
So they're very cautious buyers at the moment, which is really interesting. Before that, they would buy very similar to Europe, that they would buy mass, lots of it. But unfortunately, the one thing about China was that they weren't just buying the cheaper garments, they were buying the expensive stuff in mass as well. So that they have the money behind them. Um, and this is one thing about Hong Kong. Our tourism from China was one of the big things that kept our economy booming. And then because we've had the trade war, the protesters, and now the corona, we're not seeing many mainland kind of buyers, shoppers.
So,
They feel quite threatened to come to Hong Kong, and then that's another political problem that we've got here. But Corona's definitely pushed and locked down the barrier that they're staying over onto the China side. But China shopping itself is also slow. The malls are people are going shopping, but very calm. they're buying. They're not buying huge quantities.
I saw a report yesterday, I think day before yesterday. Harms reopened their store, and in one day, one store they sold almost $3 million of goods. So, which is luxury. It's a luxury. It's entirely luxury
Yeah.
products they've been selling. So, I mean, that was a big number actually.
And also, I think obviously the digital platforms, not just the shops online, I think they're definitely going to have the advantage, just because people are not going to be so scared to touch people, right? They just order online, and all of a sudden they can get the garment that they wanted. So I think the pros out of this is that the digital world will be the winner, but also on the supply chain, we can't do everything digitally. So the shopping front end will be pushed for the digital age, but the supply chain still is a bit behind, I would say.
Needs to be physical.
Yeah, we have to make garments, right? We can't just like put it in a printer and it comes out the other side.
Maybe someday, when we have these 3D printers working really,
I wouldn't mind. I don't mind that. I don't have to get my hands dirty.
So China, as we are saying, is that consumers are coming back, but very slowly and very cautiously. And Hong
Yeah.
Kong also, I believe some stores are open. Still, the stores are still
Yeah,
closed.
no, it is, but there's obviously the population is quite not as big as mainland China, so the shops themselves they're not as packed as they used to be. Um, it's quite calm. It's very strange. It feels, I don't know,
You're in a movie,
unresting when you go out. It's kind of like this is not what Hong Kong is. It's strange to walk through Central, and if you might see 5, 6 people. I've never seen it like that.
Hong Kong used to, you go there and you try to find a place where people are not there.
Yep.
So, so this is from the consumer side, and as you said, I believe also that even in Europe and US, the consumers will be reacting cautiously, and probably, as you said, that quality will be the key for consumers. If they are buying less, they will buy high quality, better quality.
I hope so. This is just my personal thing that I just hope that people realize that buying this fast fashion is not good. You know, even when we go into the sustainability side, how much garments we dump into the landfills. I read an article the other day that I think it's 95% of the garments could be recycled, but we only recycle 5% globally.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's really sad part. Again, even from the fresh production, I believe that around 15% of the production is actually going to the landfills without being used. You know,
Yeah.
15%.
It's, I actually had a question the other day where we, we've rapidly needing these face masks, and obviously they're needed in society to stop the spreading of corona. And but are they made sustainable? Are they made with fabric that has got testing? Where when we make the garments, we're all about compliance. We're all about the fabric. We're all about, can that fabric be recycled at end use? Is there a circular market? But then all of a sudden, I'm seeing all these big orders of 10 million masks here, 10 million masks here to be produced. But have we done the same research as what we do in the supply chain to make the jeans? Because our feel is, in a year, 2 years' time, are we going to see the face masks floating in the ocean instead of a Coca-Cola bottle?
Quite possible. It's quite possible. I mean, the
Um,
way the demand is going up for them, and I've been, we've been doing some articles on design and mask, how even the luxury brands are coming out with all these face masks.
Yeah,
When this is something going to be a part of your accessory, it's
for sure, and I
ingredient.
like it, but I like that we can accessorize using the mask because it's functional. But then the other side is, do we have to have a proper standard kind of clinical mask internally? And how do we keep it at N95 standard? I don't think we've even like put into the mindset of making these masks. Everybody just goes, I need a mask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true, actually. And they know, because the governments are all so stuck up in their own, difficulties right now. I don't think they are really in a position to do any kind of come out with guidelines on this. But I think this is something what WHO should come out with a guideline on this. That this
Yep.
is the only mask which should be worn, and it should be worn like this, and this is how it should be produced. So if we have these guidelines, then probably it becomes easier for all of manufacturers, designers like you, and all to design everything around that and
Yep.
create the aesthetics around those guidelines.
Like I'm all for the kind of mask that we're producing as a fashion kind of item. Now, if we look at the laundries, we can easily put them in the ozone machine to then be an antibacterial kind of finished. We know that that mask has got no kind of germs on them, but then it doesn't stop the function of the mask working, right? It's just like we've just made them clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking one more point, looking from the customer, the retailer point of view. Let's say even the customers who are right now in touch with the developers like you and asking for new products to be developed. So, have they changed their requirements in some way to, let's say, to have special finishes in the garments or special washes or special characteristics?
Okay, so basically, obviously, all our team at the moment are staying at home for the last month. So on our side, I couldn't say anything that we've got any direction on that. But I do know when I've been in the laundries that there's several chemicals that are on the market at the moment that people are testing, where it's antibacterial, reducing the bacteria as well as like fungi kind of things. But this must be some kind of fashion kind of driven because I still don't think it has any connection to stop corona. Um, it's such a small kind of virus. It's going to go through any fabric that we're
Anything?
going
Yeah,
to produce, especially in the denim field. So
yeah.
it's more of a fashion marketing kind of finish, I would say, on the garment itself.
I think anti-water water repellent
Yep.
fabrics might be some help you, because ultimately, because this spreads through the droplets. So maybe some
The
characteristic
nano
of anti.
finish kind of finished garments.
Yeah. So that might be some help probably in terms of.
Yeah, also the yarn when we weave in the denim could be hemp or flax, something like that, where it does have some purities in the natural fibers that might help. How much they help, I have no idea.
We don't know. We
In
don't know.
the testings,
Even natural indigo is supposed to be
it's
antibacterial and
antibacterial if it's natural, right? But the trouble is, it's not natural anymore, right? It's all synthetic kind of mix by
no, the pure. I'm talking
liquid.
about the pure natural indigo, which comes from
Okay,
plants. So I mean that is supposed to
which
be
is only Japanese.
it's very expensive. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It's very expensive also.
Yeah.
So what other changes you see in our industry coming up, coming times, and what are the major,
Well,
let's say,
say that again. Sorry, I missed that last bit.
major changes you see in the industry coming up in next 1 year? Let's say in next 1 year.
In the next year, um, as a look at the denim, you mean?
Yeah, I mean everything, character, the look, everything. I mean anything.
Well, I look at the moment. I think the influence of people being inside, their denim's going to be darker. And I think that is just a comforting kind of color. It is for me, a darker indigo to a light indigo. I feel like the light indigo I've got, I can get it dirty. I can see dirt, where if I've got dark indigo, even though it might be dirty, it's still crisp and clean looking. It might not be, but it still looks.
You're right.
And also, I feel like if we're going into autumn, winter, I'm feeling that the internal of the jean could be brushed. So it's more like a quilting, a cocooning of fabrics to make you warm. A bit like staying at home and wearing your pajamas all the time. You know, that connection, I feel, might be a trend.
Denim jerseys, the knit denims, maybe the knit denims.
Yeah. And also like brushed back denim.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Anything which is comfortable, because you ultimately, when you're sitting 12 hours at home and working and doing your homework also, and working on the computers, and so
For sure, yeah. I'm sure stretch denim and super stretch will be a big item where you can sit and be on the computer and the denim's not going to break the back of your knees when you bend. So, yeah, all these kind of functions where it's all about comfort. I think our trend will definitely be what can we wear indoors, but we occasionally might go out and not feel embarrassed about it.
so we can say it's more a home wear category of products. Will have a, home wear. Category of products might be, something new category, which is, I mean, which is already there, but maybe an extended category of homeware
I
category.
think so, yeah. And then obviously the sustainability on the laser and the ozone and all the other kind of setups, the e-flow, I think is 100% always going to be there. That would, just because everybody's pushed it into their supply chain in the laundries. So we're just going to be playing with fabrics, and then it's going to be still done in that sustainable way. I'm hoping. I don't
We
think
are
we're
all
going to go back to the old way anyway.
we are all hoping for that. So what are the two, let's say, the biggest positives you see? You already mentioned that we will have this, we are hoping that consumers might change their attitudes, and some of the, you can say, retailers who are not doing were good for the industry, for the economy, or for the sustainability, they might be out. So I mean, these are some of the positives. But any other positives you see from this situation?
Okay, so I've got a few actually, and I've listed them on a board here, just so I can come back to it. But I think the possibility, the positives, is it's opened up the supply chain, so it's become a bit more transparent than before, and also it's got that transparent. It's the customers who are coming in, and you can see them. Do you really want them customers on your portfolio? And then, and this is a positive, even though it might be a negative on the one end, but on the back end, I want to be transparent or visible. Is this customer, if there's another problem, going to be a difficult customer? And I think that's a positive on the supply chain of transparency, that it doesn't matter how many units they might place. If you don't get paid, you still get zero.
It's useless.
Right? All you've done is run your factory and placed all these garments in there. They've sewn all the garments and they're not getting paid. So you've made garments for free. That's
Yeah,
not good.
it's not good at all.
I think at the moment it's a good thing where we've got all the mills are very supportive, and obviously that's going to be a positive in the future where relationships will be together on the back end. I'm hoping that there's these really good brands and companies in the front end that keep the alignment of the supply, and everybody looks after each other and doesn't just look singular and just wants to protect just them. Because if you just protect just that one element, the supply chain's no good. It just collapses everywhere. We've got to join
Yeah.
together.
So we need
Um,
to. Please carry on.
Yeah. What else did I put? Sorry, I'm just checking what I've got written down.
No problem.
I also think that the supply chains might grow in the countries where they're designed. Why I say that is obviously we're in the mass globalization of full production, and this corona has basically made it transparent and shows the weakness of globalization. So if I look at it and just say I'm looking at Germany, but all of a sudden we make everything in the Far East, or maybe we should move some of the production closer, just in case. So when there's a ripple effect like what's happening, we have the ability to kind of come closer to where the source is. I think that's something. I don't think it's going to be a huge thing unless we're so dynamic. But I'm also going to, I think the customer will feel more gratitude about it as well, and feel humble that it needs to come from them, that kind of I'm trying to come up with a word here. It's just homegrown, and they're not relying on shipping and 30 days. I think it's an interesting kind of future. I think what we've got. I think because of this breakdown on the supply chain, everything's up in the air. So we have to be dynamic. But definitely we have to be stuck together. We've got to work together as a team.
I think the relationships will be probably more deep and stronger in the coming times, because also a part of the supply chain is already disappeared, in terms of, even in terms of buyers, in terms of suppliers. So the remaining part probably would like to work much more strongly with each other, more like a joint venture rather than a buyer and supplier relationship, and which will be good for the industry and for the economy.
It's all about trust, and it goes from the yarn to weaving to dyeing to making the garment and then shipping it. We all have to trust each other, and like I say, the positive is the bad guys. They're showing a big flag at the moment, and everybody knows.
Now
We
they're
don't need to say
right
any
out.
names, right? We don't
Their,
need
their
to even
names,
like.
their names are out there, right, in big letters, out there on the, and everybody knows who are the bad guys.
Yeah, I just hope that the customer sees what we see, and doesn't. Do they feel the same bad feeling we've got? Or, oh, that wonderful brand that we used to buy lots of garments from, oh, it's gone bankrupt. Where's the next one? I want them to change their mind. I want them to appreciate what they're buying.
You're absolutely correct. So it has been a lovely discussion with you, Richard. I mean, so many insights from you, because you're so well connected to the all the segments of the supply chain, and so deeply for so many decades. So it's lovely to have your views.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Everybody who has been here has been loving this talk. So I really appreciate your coming here and spending time here.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you for having the time to give me just have a chat.
Thank you so much, and sorry for all these disturbances today. It was quite annoying, actually.
No, it's okay. It's normal for me.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Please
I'll
take
speak to you
care
soon.
and keep safe and healthy, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah, keep safe. Speak to you
Thank
soon.
you. Okay. Bye bye.